Welcome back to the Joe Rogan Experience, folks. Today we've got a special guest with us, Nobark Noonan, a self-proclaimed scientist and conspiracy theorist from Novac. Nobark, how are you doing today?
Well, Joe, I'm doing just fine despite rad scorpion piercings. Thank you for having me on your show. You know, I've been following your podcast for a while now, and I've got to say, you're one of the few honest voices out there.
Thanks. Man, I appreciate that. So, let's get into it. What kind of conspiracies are you into?
Well, Joe, where do I start? There's so many things going on that people just don't know about. For instance, did you know that there are ghost commies at the RepCon facility?
What? Are you serious?
Dead serious, Joe. They want to fly to the moon, paint the moon pink, and draw a Lenin face on it. Not only that, you know that there's a secret government base on the moon? They've been up there for years, conducting all sorts of experiments and building all sorts of crazy stuff. And it's not just the moon. They've got secret bases all over the place. They're trying to fight the commies.
That's insane. How do you know all of this?
Well, Joe, I've been doing my research. I've got sources all over the place, people who have seen things that they weren't supposed to see. And let me tell you, once you start digging, you start finding all sorts of crazy stuff.
I can only imagine. So, what's the end game here? What are they trying to accomplish?
It's all about control, Joe. They want to control the moon and spread their commie message. They'll stop at nothing to achieve their goals. They're using all sorts of advanced technology that we don't even know about yet. And they're manipulating us in ways that we can't even imagine.
That's some heavy stuff, Nobark. It's definitely something to think about. Now, my other question is, there's rumors that cows have been dying left and right near Novac. You know anything about that?
Oh yeah, Joe. That's been going on for a while now. People around here have been losing their cattle, and nobody knows why. Some folks say it's the commies testing out some kind of new weapon, while others think it's some kind of alien activity.
Alien activity? What makes you say that?
Well, Joe, it's not just the cows. There have been strange lights in the sky, weird noises at night, and sightings of strange creatures around here. And let me tell you, it's not just happening in Novac. It's happening all over the world.
Wow, that's crazy. So you think these aliens are targeting cows specifically?
Well, Joe, there are a lot of theories about why the aliens might be interested in cows. Some say it's because of their DNA, while others think it's because cows are a major source of food for humans. But one thing's for sure, the aliens are up to something, and we need to be prepared.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. No, Bark. Let me ask you something. You think there might be some sort of practical explanation for the cow deaths, raiders, super mutants, or something like that?
Well, Joe, it's possible, but I think there's more to it than just that. We've had raiders and super mutants around here for years, and they've never targeted cows like this before. And besides, the cattle are being killed in strange ways, with no visible signs of trauma or injury.
That's definitely odd. So you're saying it's more likely that the commies or aliens are involved?
Absolutely, Joe. It's just another piece of the puzzle. The commies and the aliens are always up to something, and we need to be vigilant if we want to protect ourselves and our communities.
I hear you, man. It's definitely something to keep in mind. All right, let's move on. Before the show, you talked to me about the NCR conspiracy. What's that all about?
Oh yeah, Joe. The NCR is a shady organization that's been gaining power in the wasteland. They claim to be working towards a better future for all, but in reality, they're just trying to consolidate power and control everyone and everything.
That sounds like a classic conspiracy theory. What evidence do you have to support this claim?
Well, Joe, I've been doing some digging, and I found out that the NCR has been involved in some pretty sketchy dealings. They've been making backroom deals with the Enclave and other powerful factions, and they've been suppressing information that could be damaging to their image.
Wow! So you're saying the Enclave is still alive and functioning? Interesting. So, what's the end game here? What do they want?
Like I said before, Joe, it's all about control. The NCR wants to be the top dog in the wasteland, and they'll stop at nothing to achieve that goal. They're using propaganda, censorship, and other dirty tactics to manipulate the people and keep themselves in power.
That's definitely something to think about. Now, I want to hear more about your thoughts on the Brotherhood of Steel. What are they doing? Why have they been so quiet?
Well, Joe, the Brotherhood of Steel is an enigmatic faction that's been operating in the wasteland for a long time now. They're known for their advanced technology and their strict code of ethics, but lately they've been keeping to themselves and staying out of the public eye.
That's definitely unusual. Why do you think that is?
Well, Joe, There are a lot of theories out there. Some say that the Brotherhood is gearing up for a major conflict, and they don't want to reveal their plans too soon. Others think that they're involved in some kind of secret research or experimentation, and they don't want anyone else to know about it.
Interesting. So what do you think the Brotherhood is up to?
It's hard to say for sure, Joe. But one thing's for certain. They're not just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. The Brotherhood is always working towards some kind of goal, whether it's protecting the wasteland from dangerous technology or uncovering ancient secrets.
Yeah, I've heard some pretty wild stories about the Brotherhood over the years. Do you think they're a force for good, or are they just another power-hungry faction like the rest?
Well, Joe, I think the Brotherhood is a complicated organization. They've done a lot of good in the past, but they've also made some questionable decisions. Ultimately, I think it's up to each individual to decide where they stand on the issue.
That's a fair point. Now, House has been a previous guest on the show. I want to ask you, what's House's plan? What was he doing living this long? What's his plan for the Mojave Wasteland?
Well, Joe, Mr. House is a complicated figure. He's been around for a long time, and he's definitely got some ambitious plans for the wasteland. From what I've heard, House has been working on a project named Platinum Chip, which he hopes will become a hub of commerce and technology in the post-apocalyptic world.
That's definitely interesting. But how does House plan on achieving this? Does he have the resources and manpower to pull something like this off?
House is definitely a smart guy, Joe. He's got a lot of advanced technology at his disposal, and he's been using it to gain power and influence in the wasteland.
So is House a force for good in the wasteland, or is he just another power-hungry dictator?
That's a tough question to answer, Joe. On the one hand, House's plans could bring some much-needed stability and prosperity to the wasteland. But on the other hand, he's also a bit of a control freak, and he's not afraid to use violence and intimidation to get what he wants.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about. All right, folks, we're running out of time, but before we go, Nobark, I want to hear your thoughts on the future of the wasteland. What do you think it's going to look like in 10, 20, even 50 years?
Well, Joe, I think the wasteland is always going to be a dangerous and unpredictable place. But I also think that there's a lot of potential for progress and growth. If the right people and factions can come together and work towards a common goal, we might just be able to create a better future for ourselves and future generations.
Well said, Nobark. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Hail the People's Republic!